Did you know that you're always fighting? You always have a battle going on inside of you? The truth is, you have two versions of yourself. The higher version of yourself, which is the ideal version that you see in your brain and you strive to become, and your lower level self. The lower level self is the self that you're currently at, that you're accepting the results of. Listen, a lot of people will lie to you and tell you that you're the best version of yourself possible. The truth is you're not. You are not the best version of yourself possible, because I can guarantee that I can go outside and I can say, hey, what have you done today to improve your workflow? What have you done today to improve your fitness results? What have you done to improve your finances? What have you done to improve your relationship? All these things, right? And you can actually go in and see where you're working inside the lowest level of yourself versus the highest. Now listen, again, you're not the best version of yourself. You're actually the version of yourself that you are accepting of, right? That means that the version that you are is your complacency level. But if you want to go to the next level, you need to realize that you're fighting yourself subconsciously and consciously through everything you do. Your lower level versus your higher level is always playing this balancing act of which one's going to win. It's much like an angel and devil on your shoulder. They're always chirping. But usually, the truth is, the lower level version of yourself will almost always win. And what we're going to talk about today is what a lower level thinker versus a higher level thinker version of yourself is going to be, and how they're going to think, process, and function, which is going to take you from lower level you to the most best version of you. So first off, let's just start with this. Everybody has weaknesses, so you're not alone. You might have a weakness of splurging every day on Starbucks. You might have a weakness of drinking too much caffeine. You might have a weakness of spending too much money on clothes that you don't need. You might have a weakness of indulging too much on cake and ice cream, right? We all have weaknesses. But you have to realize your weaknesses by finding the mistakes that you're making. And so this becomes self-awareness. Now, a lower level thinker of yourself will not be self-aware. They will think that everything is out of their control. You put the damn ice cream in your mouth, but it's Dairy Queen's fault, right? That would be a lower level version of yourself. So to be a higher version of yourself, you must actually take responsibility for all actions, take responsibility for everything that's going on in your world, and realize the mistakes that you're making. Now, you might have heard the snowball effect or the compounding effect. Everything that you do will stack and build on each other. So if you're constantly making small mistakes, those small mistakes will eventually snowball into a large mistake or a large negative result that you don't want. For instance, if I have a Dairy Queen every week, while it might seem small, in 9, 12, 14, 16, 20 weeks next year, my results are going to show. Because if I ate ice cream every week, I'm not being on my diet as ideally as I need to be. And that's a lower level version of myself, looking short term versus long term. So first we need to look and find our mistakes or patterns that lead to mistakes. Once we find those mistakes, we can find solutions for those mistakes. But again, weakness is just simply something that we want to find and improve. Much like if you saw a squeaky floorboard in your house, you're probably not going to want to see or hear that thing every day. So it's finding that weakness, taking the time to pick it up and put a new one in. So what is the battle that's going on inside of yourself? The battle that's going on inside of yourself, again, is your two U's, almost Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, good and bad. Good being the higher version of yourself, bad being the complacent lower level version of yourself that you're currently at. Now don't take that as a bad thing. You could be living a great life. You could be having a lot of the things that you want. But the truth is, that's only okay, right? Because there's still things that you want. You want more money in your bank account. You want a happier relationship. You want better fitness results. You want things. But all those things happen because you stop allowing yourself to work and function in the lowest level and start focusing on the highest level. So, let's dive right in. Higher level thinkers are going to focus on a couple key things. Or the higher version you is going to be focusing on a couple key things. They're going to be focusing on greatness, meaning what am I doing and how can I make it better, right? Can I make this great? If I'm delivering a package, can I make the experience better? If I am cooking food, can I make it taste better, right? Or am I just going, it's good enough, right? Second is going to be effort. When you do stuff, you do it all the way, right? There's no, oh, okay, well, I got 70%, that's good enough. I did 12 reps, it said 15, that's good enough. Oh, I saved a couple dollars, but I was supposed to save 10, that's good enough, right? Effort is the key to a higher level you. You're putting in the effort either way. It just depends on if you want to go all the way in or if you just want to put your toe in it. The person that goes all the way in for what they want will succeed far greater and far faster than the person that puts their toe in, because they're probably not going to get wet. They're probably not going to succeed. Third, priorities. Now realize, priorities everybody has. The lower level you has priorities too, and the higher level you has priorities. However, there are two different kinds of priorities. Lower level you priorities are going to be things like making sure that you are on call for your kids at all times. You're always available for your friends and family to call you and take you out of whatever you're working on. A higher level you is going to be setting priorities that move you forward. Again, maybe it's your fitness that you want to improve in your nutrition, setting priorities around meal planning and tracking, as well as setting your workouts in place. That is prioritizing. A lower level you would allow yourself to prioritize, but then something happens, such as, a friend calls you for a beer, and you say, oh, well, okay, I can skip my workout today, and I'm going to go have that beer. That's a lower level you taking advantage and making that mistake. From there, we have higher level yous are always looking for long-term strategies or long-term success. What that means is we're not thinking short-term, like what I do today is going to pay today, or I get my outcome today, like an ice cream cone, right? Maybe I have the craving for an ice cream cone, and that's short-term fulfillment. But what we want to focus on is the long-term success, the long-term game. I always like to say the results that you want are 90 days from now, which means the outcomes and actions that you take today will show or come to fruition in 90 days. So we're looking at long-term strategies. Maybe that's when you buy a car, you don't just buy the cheapest car, you buy a little bit more expensive car that's going to hold a better value for when you want to go resell it. That's long-term thinking. Well, a lower level you will be like, okay, well, this car is cheap, let me go buy it. A higher level you will look at the car and say, okay, it's cheaper, but how can I sell it later on down the line, or what can I do with it? Is it going to last me 4 or 5 years? Am I going to have problems? That's long-term thinking versus short-sightedness, right? I have a nice idea of this long and short-term game with also traffic tickets, right? I have a car that goes pretty fast. I've gotten pulled over a few times before I got it. And every time I had 2 options. I got the ticket, I had 2 options. One, go to court for myself or just pay the ticket. Okay? That's option 1. Option 2 is call my attorney or lawyer, have them take care of it. Guess what? The second option, which was calling my lawyer, was a better option. Why was it a better option? Because it had long-term thinking in mind. How did it have long-term thinking? Look at it like this. I get my ticket, I pay the $200 and pay the ticket. Now that ticket goes on my insurance. When that ticket's on my insurance goes up a little bit more each month. Now all of a sudden my insurance maybe adds another $150 per month or every 2 months, right? Plus I had the ticket. Well, now that's on my record for 5 years. So I also have a problem on my record. I'm paying an additional fee on side of my insurance, and I paid $200. Okay. Oh, shit. We got that now. But if I call my lawyer's $500. My lawyer will get me out of the ticket, and now I spent $500 one time. I don't have anything on my record, and I've gotten out of the ticket. And I've saved myself from having an increase in insurance. So could you see how that difference in strategies or long-term thinking for short-sightedness could actually impact you in more ways than one? The next thing is never accepting. Never accepting okayness, right? It's you do something and you do it to the best of your ability. You don't look back and say, oh, I could have given a little bit more, I could have done a little bit better. You look at it and you do everything to the best of your ability. If you're helping someone clean their house, you're fucking scrubbing the floors to help them, not just like pushing the broom around all lazily, right? Like you're in everything you do at full-on effort. When you do that and you never accept just mediocreness, you'll always strive more and harder and work better. Persistence. Persistence is key for a higher level you. Too often, we are okay with trying something one time, not being good at it, and saying, we're not good at it, and walking away. That is not what the higher level you is going to do. A higher level you is going to be persistent in achievement of that result. Maybe it's to learn to stand up paddleboard. The first time I learned to stand up paddleboard, I fell on my ass on the board and fell off. But guess what? The second time I went, with my persistence, I was a little bit better. The third time, better. Fourth time, better. Fifth time, shit, maybe I'll buy a paddleboard that time. But that came through persistence. I didn't quit after one time, and I wanted to get better. I was never accepting of the outcome of the initial time. I wanted to strive for better. And then I was persistent inside of that. almost last one here, guys, is going to be education. So the higher level you is always looking to educate yourself and get better or more knowledgeable. That doesn't mean reading Facebook and reading bullshit blog posts. That doesn't mean reading the journal, the newspaper and crap like that. It means actually figuring out how to educate yourself in a way that will take the knowledge that you have into a higher level. That also means understanding how you're best going to learn things, right? For me, I do really well with earphones in and reading at the same time. So if I can learn to educate myself that way, then I can grow and expand faster. But if I'm just like, I'm going to learn the way that I'm reading this content in front of me, and I'm reading content that doesn't actually teach me stuff, I'm not getting better, and I'm not going to grow as one inside my mind, I'm not going to grow inside my body, and I'm not going to grow inside of my capacity. So you're always looking to expand your education to get a better version of yourself. And the best thing that I ever heard from one of my mentors a long time ago is, no matter how smart I get, the dumber I feel. Because you realize that when people are very closed-minded in their thought process, their ideas, usually they don't know much. So that's when they start going into things as such strict rules and ideas around stuff. But that's because they're uneducated in the process of other stuff. So you want to fill your brain with knowledge, change in mindset, videos like this, stuff that's going to help move you in the right direction of the education and intent behind it. And last thing the higher level you is going to do is focus and get guidance, right? Everybody of greatness in the world, no matter whether it's an Olympic skier, a basketball player, an orchestra kid at 10 years old, or anybody in between, they all had guidance. The more guidance you have, the more you have someone looking at you from an outside perspective saying, okay, here's the deal. You're about to go on two roads. The road on the right is going to be a little shorter than the road on the left. You should take that version. Or, okay, here's what you're doing. Now let's fix this, right? Guidance allows someone to help you see better, right? You can see very good, but oftentimes you've got binoculars on. You can only see so much. It's so close. But a coach with guidance allows them to take the binoculars off, show you the world that's presented to you, and show you the capacities as well as how you can get there. So guidance is important for the higher level you. Now let's go into the lower level you, because this is where most of us are sitting, right? And most of us may not be sitting here all the time. We might have a couple areas in our life that we're very, very high, and we're the highest level version of ourselves, but we want to be the highest level version of ourselves across everything we do. Whether that's cleaning the house, whether that's, mowing the lawn, whether that's dealing with your friends and family, whether that's your workouts, whether it's your relationships, whatever it is, we want to be the best version. So we want to make sure we understand what lower level thinking or lower level versions of ourselves will be doing. And first off, the lower level you will be accepting of good enough. Hey, how'd you do today on that project? Or how was painting the house? I did good enough. You look at the thing that you do and you're like, I guess it's okay. It's okay. It should be better. But you're like, okay, it's good enough, right? That means you are accepting of mediocre, right? Mediocre is not the best version of yourself. Mediocre is the lowest version of yourself. It's not what we want. Just okay. How was your day? It was just okay. How was that food? It was just okay. How was your workout? It was just okay. Just okay? Again, that's mediocre thinking. That's living your life in just like, I'm going to just go with the flow. Now, that's okay, but is it? It's not. Just living by flow is not going to give you what you want, right? You're not on a river that takes you to the magical land of your results. You're on a river that takes you fucking far, far away. So just okay is not okay. That's the lowest level version of yourself thinking right there. That's the lowest thing you could say is good enough and just okay. Now, lower level you will also do just the bare minimum. You have a work project? I'm going to do just the bare minimum. You have a workout? I'm going to do just the bare minimum. You have, you need to spend time with your friends and family during Christmas time? I'm going to do just the bare minimum. I'm going to hang out with just them enough, right? Just enough. I'm going to work out just enough, right? The bare minimum thinking is the lowest level you. You are putting in the effort already. Do the fucking maximum. If you're at the gym for an hour, give that hour all you've got, not just the bare minimum. The bare minimum is the differentiator between okay and awesome. And you want awesome. So you want to make sure that you're not doing just the bare minimum. Complacency. Complacency is a huge one for the lowest level you. If you're living in complacency, that's saying, fuck, I hate my house, but I'm going to still live here. That's complacent. I don't like my job. I'm not getting paid enough, but I'm going to stay here. I'm worried about other things, so I'm going to be complacent in this. Oh, this food sucks that I just got delivered to my table. I'm going to eat it anyways because it's just okay, right? That's complacency. When you're living in complacency, you're never going to move out of complacency. Because when you're complacent, everything's okay, right? And that's not what we want to live in our higher level selves. Almost lastly, guys, it's going to be short-term thinking. So we already covered that in the long-term thought process. But short-term thinking is thinking so short-sighted that you don't see the possibilities and results of that short-term thinking. Short-term thinking could be going to Dairy Queen every night, or drinking the Starbucks after your workout, or saying that, oh, I've worked out really hard, let me go to the bar and have a drink. Those are all short-term sighted because what happens is you think that it's okay. And you're going to reward yourself, but what ends up happening is that short-term thinking will then overpower. And then you'll start going 2 drinks or skipping the workout and still having the coffee. And those things will be ingrained because those in your head are rewards, while the work behind it is not. But short-term thinking is all about making sure, or when you're doing short-term thinking, you're thinking about the pleasure sources and results now versus what you want later. If I want $1 million, there's no reason for me to go spend $1,000 on tennis shoes. But if I had some money in my bank account and I'm like, shit, those shoes are so fly, I love those things, and then go buy it, that's short-term thinking. Because if I want to really create and build wealth, buying shoes that I don't actually need would be fucking pointless, right? Second to last, in-the-moment decisions. This is a big one. In-the-moment decisions. If you're making in-the-moment decisions, they almost live with short-term thinking. You're making decisions on the fly. You have no real idea what it is you're striving for, so it's okay to make this decision, right? Maybe you don't know where you're going to be living or working, and so you just make a decision to say yes, right? You just choose something. Or maybe it's like, hey guys, you want to go to the bar, and you don't have any plans for the night, so you say, oh, okay, well that sounds good. In-the-moment decisions are what's going to pull you away from the higher level version of yourself. Because when you're the highest level version of yourself, you know what you're doing. You know why you're doing it, and you know what steps you have to take every day to be the best version of yourself. Maybe that's you need to be reading 10 pages of a book a day. But in the moment decisions would say, hey, my friends are telling me that they're going to the bar. I'm going to skip my 10 pages today, and I'm going to go to the bar too. That's in the moment decisions that don't create the highest level you. That creates the lowest level you. And again, that's not what we want. Last and finally, it's the do it on your own mindset. Listen, here's what I had to tell myself. This is what my mentors and coaches have told me. If you could do it on yourself, you'd already be there. Are you there? No. Doing it on your own is for people who are too afraid to step into the arena and game, and they want to sit on the sidelines being an armchair quarterback telling the winners what they're doing wrong. Without any results, without any impact, without any life changes. Doing it on your own is going to get you exactly where you are. Right there. Right where you currently are. Now that might be good for you at the moment, but truthfully, is that the lowest level you? Or is that the highest level you? Are you just okay with being there? Or do you want to be in a bigger house, a nicer house? You want to rebuild your kitchen? Or do you want to live in a different state, or have a different shape in your body, or have a better result, right? That is all the difference between doing it on your own and getting guidance. A guide, a mentor, a coach can help you literally figure out everything you need. They've done this before. They see it from different eyes or lenses. They don't have the same filters on as you do. They're not as close to it as you are, right? Bad analogy here, but if your hand is so far up a cow's butt that your head is right next to its butt, you can't see what's going on. But the person that's standing off to the side of you can be like, okay, you're about to get kicked by that horse or that cow, right? They get to see things differently than you are. But you're in here like this and you're okay with it because you're doing it on your own. So you can continue to do that, or you can get the guidance, support, and assistance. And the truth be told, I've invested a lot of money on guidance. It's all paid dividends. It's paid me multiples over from the investments that I've made, because one, it helps me streamline the process. If I know I want to go here, but I'm kind of confused on which path to take, it's like my TomTom. It's like, okay, you got to take this street and this street and this street. It's only 3 turns versus where you thought you were going, which is all over the place. It also helps you stay focused, because now instead of saying, I want this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, it's like, okay, what do you actually want, and which one's going to give you the most of these things? And that's the best feeling, is because instead of going every which way direction, I have one direction that gives me it all, right? So think about it, that idea, like you want to pick a flower or pick flowers, right? And right now you could go pick flowers at that park, at that park, at that park, at that park, and that park. They all each have one flower. But it could be easier by going to the one park that has all the flowers. And that's what guidance allows you to do, is it allows you to find where you can go to get everything all in one. And the other thing about guidance and versus doing it on your own leaves too many things open. It gets confusing, it gets hard, it gets challenging. Because when you do it on your own, you're really on your own, right? I bet you use your phone to figure out where to go on maps. I bet you use your phone and Google to figure out how to solve things. But when you do it on your own, you're living inside of the world of on your own. You don't have the navigation and assistance. You don't have the bird's eye view. You don't have the person that's saying, this is what you're doing right now, and this is how far it's going to go, and this is what you could do better. So lower level you and higher level you is very, very important. But we don't want to be letting our lower level selves beat out our higher level selves. If you want to achieve greatness, if you want to achieve the best version of yourself, you want to live your life amazingly, you don't want to have any regrets, you want to be focusing on the higher level you. And the truth be told is that there was once a study done by a bunch of senior citizens that were in a nursing home, and they asked a simple question. And that question was this: what would you change about in your life? And what they said the most is they changed regret. Regret of not doing stuff. Regret of not working harder. Regret of not focusing more. Now, which version of themselves do you think they were living in? Lower level them or higher level them? If you ever look back on your life and have 20/20 vision of what you should have done differently that would have given you a better outcome, you were making decisions based on the lower level you. But if you look back and you say, that was the best experience ever, I had so much fun, I got what I wanted, I was so close, I was so there, and I changed my goal as I was moving there, that's the higher level you. So again, let's just recap real quick, guys. Lower level you thinking is going to go like this. You're going to be okay with good enough. You're going to be complacent there. You're going to say things like just okay, good enough, all those kind of bad, kind of lacking words. You're going to focus on giving the bare minimum, the least amount of effort you could do to get a result, right? To be honest, in high school, I was a bare minimum student. I would do just enough to graduate, and that was it, right? But that's not who I am anymore because I realized that that wasn't going to give me the outcomes that I wanted. Complacency, being okay with being okay, like not pushing, not striving, not trying to be better, but being okay with whatever it is that you're at. Short-term thinking, so focusing on short-term results or kind of feelings, thoughts, emotions, stuff like that. That's going to be the lower level you. In the moment decisions, making poor decisions based on, in the moment actions like going to the bar, eating the Dairy Queen, splurging too much, and then trying to do it on your own is all things of lower level thinking. And the lower level you. Now the higher level you again is going to be focusing on greatness. You're going to be focusing on living your day every day like it's your last day and your best day. You're going to be focusing on giving as much effort as you can to the things that you do. Putting forth the best energy you can and the most result-driven effort you can on everything you do. Whether it's taking the trash out, whether it's picking up your house, whether it's working out, or whether it's at work. You're going to make sure that you have your important priorities in the forefront. And those priorities are the things that are the big movers that are going to give you more of what you want. Not the low-level priorities like making sure that your trash gets taken out to the curb, but your higher-level priorities, which is like getting my body in shape, spending less money on dumb stuff, all those things. Long-term strategies, thinking beyond the week to 2 weeks or even 3 weeks, thinking far out with long-term strategies and thought processes that could actually save you money in my case, could get you a better result, could help you for the rest of your life, right? Never accepting, so never accepting just okay, never accepting like this is where you're at. If someone says, Jeff, right now is as far as you're going to go in life. You're not going to have any more money. You're not going to have any more clients. You're not going to have a different house. You're going to be where you are at for the rest of your life. I would say, fuck that, because I am not going to accept that. But if someone said, okay, you're going to just make this much money for the rest of your life, you say, all right, that sounds good. That's accepting, and that's not the higher level you. You want to become the best version of yourself, so you never have to accept whatever someone else gives you. Persistence is key inside the higher level you. Persistence on improving daily. Persistence on becoming the best version of yourself. Persistence on not letting yourself give up after one. Education, being open and honest with yourself that you do not know everything, and allowing yourself to become a student again, allowing yourself to learn and grow in the areas that you need to get the result that you want. If you want to be better at finances, you shouldn't be fucking spending hours on Facebook and asking dumb people on Facebook. You should be going to the source and learning about finance or whatever it might be. That would be meaning reading TD Ameritrade. That might be looking at the mint.com sites. That might be looking at a lot of stuff. But it's not the bullshit that you're allowing yourself to say I'm educating myself on. And lastly is guidance. The higher level you is going to take guidance, take recommendations, take resources, take information. Now here's the other thing about guidance, guys. This is where a lot of people mistake the process of guidance or teaching. You don't have to agree with everything that the guide or mentor or coach tells you. However, you do want to listen with open ears. And what you want to do from that point is absorb what is useful and get rid of the rest. That's an old Bruce Lee quote. What that means is I might not agree with everything I hear from someone, but if I hear one or two things that could help me, I'm not going to say, I didn't agree with the 96 other things that you told me, so I can't, it devalues the two things that could help me. I say, okay, 96 things don't matter to me and they're not going to be impactful, but those two things, let me use those. Right? Let me use those and I'm going to get value from those and those are going to work for me. So guidance can come in many forms and fashions, but just by taking advice from everybody will not give you the outcome you want. Taking good advice and good guidance will give you the results and outcomes that you want, need, and crave. So, are you going to continue to live in the lower level you, which is just accepting where you're at right now? Right? Because again, as I told you at the beginning, the lower level you is the you that you're at currently. It's the you that you're accepting on the current state of your life. Or are you going to start moving into the higher level you? Hopefully, you start living in the higher level you, because I know that you'll love it a lot more. Have any questions on this? Feel free to comment. You want to work deeper on this? Let's work together and let's build this program out for you to see the best results, outcomes, and results, and start living in the higher level you and stop allowing yourself to live inside the lower level you.